Good morning. This is Pastor Zach with the Goodland United Methodist Church with your morning devotion for Thursday, September 21st. Today we'll be looking at the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 1 through 12. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will have mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." This passage opens what is known as the Sermon on the Mount. Opens with these words called the Beatitudes. These statements begin with the word blessed. These words affirm a state of blessing that already exists. Each beatitude declares that a group of people who normally are regarded as afflicted is actually a blessed people. Those blessed don't have to do anything to obtain this blessing. Jesus simply declares that they have already been blessed. Thus, the Beatitudes are first and foremost a declaration of God's grace. They're not conditions of salvation or roadmaps to earn entry into the heavenly kingdom. Those who belong to each of these groups experience God's grace because the kingdom of heaven has come near. Think about the second Beatitude, blessed are those who mourn. You don't normally think of mourning as a blessing. It's a sorrow. But with the coming of the kingdom of heaven, mourning becomes a blessing because the mourners will be comforted. God himself will do the comforting. The affliction of the mourning becomes the blessing of profound relationship with God through Christ. A blessing indeed. The purpose of the Beatitudes is to declare the blessing given by God's kingdom. As we step into God's kingdom, we hope to become more like those named as blessed, more meek, more merciful, more hungry for righteousness, more apt to be peacemakers. This gives the Beatitudes a moral imperative. Jesus would later say, "Make disciples of all nations," in the end of Matthew. The Beatitudes describe the character these disciples are to take on. The Beatitudes describe the character of God's kingdom, but they're not conditions of salvation. Jesus doesn't say only the pure in heart may enter the kingdom of heaven. The Beatitudes are almost impossible to fulfill. Jesus tells us that as we enter God's kingdom, we are to take on a lifestyle like these blessed people. The grace of the Beatitudes is the blessing of God's community, not just God's individuals. By following Jesus, we become blessed members of God's kingdom. And even though our character is not formed completely in God's likeness yet, we work towards being these blessed people. May we live our days hoping to be more like those who are named blessed in the Sermon on the Mount. Have a blessed day.